Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. I have my ladies' day. That makes me happy.
What's going on?
The amazing looking, like I said, you look like a picnic in a
Erica's outfit is my favorite.
Unbelievable.
I love a good suit.
Me too.
Ready for
Power
business.
suit.
Amazing yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Well, let's talk about this because everyone I know there's a new twist in the Olivia Wilde and Jason Sudeikis custody drama. Olivia was served legal documents while she was on stage in front of thousands of industry execs at CinemaCon in Las Vegas. She was given a manila envelope that said on the front, personal and confidential. Inside were custody documents from her ex, Jason Sudeikis. Olivia was there to promote her new film, Don't Worry, Darling, which she directed. It also stars her boyfriend, Harry Styles. According to Variety, Jason claimed he had zero knowledge of the time or the place that the envelope would be delivered and would never condone her being served in such an inappropriate manner.
Did anybody else see this story and hear "Don't worry, darling" in Ted Lasso's voice?
Don't worry, darling.
I was like, okay, clearly this was a setup. This was a setup, and yeah.
What makes you think that?
Well, everyone there needed to have credentials. Obviously, the theory is that when you're being served, the process server knows because the person who's serving you is telling them. So
they're working together, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this whole thing went down in a way that she didn't. I mean, can you imagine? That's got to be debilitating. The fact that she even carried on is, hey.
Good for her.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, they were together for 9 years. They were engaged. And I always say, like, if you want to call off a marriage or engagement, that's between two parties, and do so. But when you have kids that are 5 years old and 8 years old, they're going to look at you and they're going to grow up and either, like, emulate you and want to be like you or completely despise the way that you treated their mother or their father. And I'm saying this as somebody who understands because Colin has a 10-year-old daughter that's my stepdaughter. So it's a problem when the communication is not all in line. And so it's frustrating to me to see that he would prefer to embarrass this woman than have a dialogue with her. Somebody that you spent 9 years with, you prefer to embarrass her than just have normal dialogue and say, let's figure out how to share custody of our kids so they can grow up still healthy outside of us. It has nothing to do with us. Let's be respectful, responsible adults so they learn how to be respectful, responsible adults.
Do you, either of you, believe the Sudeikis claim that he literally had zero? So you're already shaking your head at me?
Her schedule is kind of public. If she's doing a big event, obviously a lot of people can have access to it. She's slated. But I mean, no, come on.
Well,
come on.
I think the underlying issue as well is the fact that she needed to be served at all. So does that mean that there's a breakdown in communication, that mediation wasn't something that they were able to do? So it automatically makes me think that there's a child custody fight.
Right, there's some kind of issue there.
Right.
Because really the two of them have been somewhat amicable. The co-parenting was going well according to their teams, right? And what's interesting is how savage servers can be. Now, they can't break and enter. They can't use threats or harassments. They can't pretend to be a law enforcement officer. But as soon as you say, are you Erica Cobb? And you say yes, it's done. So it's happened at someone's funeral for their mother. They got served. And sometimes on a plane, as the airplane crosses over state lines in the air, served.
I mean, who invests in the time to book a flight for that person? It's just like so extra. Like, I would pray that we can have the conversation on ground, me and
But
you.
if you're evading that person, it's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, I've never been served. Where's the woods? Not but I was definitely repoed.
Yeah,
and
they find you.
The lady came up to me and asked me if I was Erica Cobb at a charity event that I was hosting.
See.
So, that's really crazy because I'm like, my charity should have started at home so I could pay for this car. But I didn't. I was trying to help girls somewhere else.
That's hilarious.
And that's where you gotta want to be like, am I Erica Cobb? I don't know.
Right. To who, right?
Let me think.
Who's asking?
Right. Well, we do have an update to this. Santa Fe County, sheriff releasing all that footage from the Rust movie. The family of Helena Hutchins is outraged over the release of the body cam videos, some of which we did not show on the show, shows her literally dying on set after being shot by Alec Baldwin. Her widower, Matthew Hutchins, his lawyer, sent a scathing email to the sheriff. They claimed he trampled on their dignity and their privacy by releasing these videos. They also claimed he promised to let them review any footage before it was released, but did not follow through. They're worried the footage could harm their 9-year-old son, as it could be used by bullies to emotionally abuse him in the future. I've said from day one, I don't get why this was released. They asked for freedom of information. They didn't have to say yes to that at request.
Yeah, and the lawyer was like, you know, you disrespected our constitutional rights. And I think that that's something to think about, because I was on the side of, if the press is asking for it in large volumes, you have to make that decision, and you want to be fair on how you treated other cases that didn't involve celebrities. But if you had a dialogue with this family and told them that you're going to respect them first, give them the video to look at first, and you give it to them in the same moment that Radar Online has it, that's a problem.
What do you think, Erica? I agree with you, Linz.
That was my number one concern, is that the family wasn't necessarily saying they were going to block it. They were just asking to review it before it was released. So I'm wondering if just the grandiose nature of like all the names involved and what this is, what it's about, was an added incentive for the sheriff to. It makes no sense to me.
Like, if we weren't able or want to, because we have actual dignity to show, I mean, you see her moving as she's dying. Imagine her 9-year-old son, even knowing that's out there.
Yeah,
I think
it lives out there forever.
Right. And no matter what, as long as you try to avoid it at one point in your life, you might see it, you know? I just think that's wrong. So, Santa Fe County Sheriff, we'd love to get a statement on what's going on down there. Coming up on DBL, the release of a former Marine detained in Russia is bringing up concerns over the detainment of WNBA star Brittney Griner. Could she be released soon, too? And our interview with Kelsey Grammer, he's given us an update on the long-awaited Frasier reboot.
Closed captioning provided by
This April, connect with Al, Lindsay, Erica, Jeff, and Tori.
This is gonna be a good one.
Real conversations are on DBL.
I tried to contain myself. I wanted to scream it out loud.
DBL, all new every day.
I actually want to know some more examples of people who disrespectfully serve people.
Dude,
you have a ton?
Well, do you remember Pineapple Express? Do y'all remember that movie? Seth Rogen, who I love, is a server in that movie. And he just dresses up as different, like a mailman, a UPS guy, a repair person. And he just goes and knocks on people's doors and asks, are you them? And he's like, you served. And recently, Alex Jones was in a big crowd of press and all this stuff, and a man came up and goes, this is for you, you're Alex Jones, this is for you. And he goes, I can't open this, I've told security I'm not allowed to open this. And he goes, no, you've been served. And it's like in front of everyone. So I wonder if we're gonna start to see a trend of more public servings, because it is like a scarlet letter in great, I mean, that was in front of all of her peers.
I had two thoughts. One was like, this is an example of somebody who's like funny on camera
and mean it.
And didn't we talk about this recently? I can't remember with who. It's like, and not saying that we're blaming him. He said that he didn't do it.
Right.
All I'm saying is if he did do it, it's like, what's wrong with you, man? And everybody just.
Because that's her big, like, a directorial moment. I mean, in front of all that. I can't.
But also the timeline. So like, as somebody who is a resident petty person, and I say this all the time, I understand that if
Wait, did you say resident petty person?
Yes. If you got in a relationship 3 months after we decided to break up, and it was like you had a whole movie in production soon after, or in that time line, I would be offended.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I wouldn't just be like, okay, we have 2 kids together, 9 years, fine. But I also would just be like, okay, is this the time for like the Michelle Obama energy?
Do we go high?
Because better things can come to you. Like think about Ciara and Russell Wilson.
That's true.
But, like she could have went any route with Future the way that he treated her.
I know.
Publicly. And she was like, I'm just gonna go high now.
But you know what? They began filming in September and they went public in January. I think there might have been some overlap there, you know what I'm saying?
Ciara and Russell Wilson are officially in Denver.
Welcome back. Former Marine Trevor Reed is back on U.S. soil and is now home after being detained in Russia for nearly 3 years. He was released as part of a surprising prisoner exchange with Russia. Meantime, what we really want to know, obviously, is the State Department, an update on Brittney Griner, who is currently being held by Russia. They say her case remains a, quote, top priority and that the administration will continue to work for her release. Yeah, it's kind of like if we don't keep talking about this every single day, this goes away, doesn't it? I know, this takes a lot. I know.
This case became so complicated because not only, obviously, there was 3 weeks before we even knew that she was detained. Then we heard nothing. And then the story broke. And then the petition came out. And then WNBA players were coming out. Lisa Leslie came out publicly and said, we were told not to say anything. So it's been this, to me, it's almost like this double Dutch thing, because I've spoken with other organizations that have like really big voices and ways to partner. They've gone quiet. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Is it helping or hurting? Because is it going to make her more of a political pawn by amplifying it? I don't know, but I do know that she needs to come home.
That's such a good point, because you don't know if maybe behind the scenes, quietly, things aren't being done, and the more we talk about it, the worse it gets in that way. Or do we need to amplify her to not let people forget?
Well, now actually we do know, because you were saying like we don't know what they're doing, but actively they are working with Russia. They just showed you in order to have some type of conversation. We thought conversation was off the table, given the fact that they're threatening us almost every day for how we involve ourselves in Ukraine. But obviously there are diplomatic relationships that are still happening. If this was an example, then I would think this is a positive light. Hopefully she's not there for 3 years and another example of this, but this is a positive example that maybe there is a way to have a conversation outside of what we think is horrific and most of the world thinks is horrific going on in Ukraine.
That's a good way to think about it. This might be an opening, a green light in some ways. Remember, Trevor sentenced to 9 years. He got out in 3, which is another positive in some respects. So let's put a good light on it and actually think that way. I can't believe I never even thought.
Well, I remember when Hillary Clinton came out and said something, I was like, oh my God, because I heard, like you said, people were being quiet and not really talking about it in the same volume that they were. And I'm like, Hillary Clinton is making these public statements and know that she's, for some people, a polarizing figure. And so, I just was like, what's happening? And I know I was talking to you a little bit about it off the camera, and you were saying that her family had certain requests. And so that kind of made it like, I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, especially as somebody who has the platform in order to support the movement, in order to get Brittney Griner home.
That makes a lot of sense. Right, coming up on DBL, iconic TV sitcom star Kelsey Grammer. What's in store for the Frasier reboot?
I know I'm asking a big favor. I know you're busy, but I just want you to know that all my life I have dreamed of one thing. The day I could go...
This one.
Let's run through some fast facts on the COVID treatment Paxlovid with information from these sources: infectious diseases specialist Dr. William Schaffner, the CDC, and the FDA. First, what is Paxlovid? It's a pill taken twice a day for at least 5 days, and it was the first oral antiviral treatment for COVID-19 given emergency use authorization by the FDA. The agency says that it should be taken as soon as possible after testing positive and within 5 days of first symptoms. Next question, what does it do? Dr. Schaffner explains its goal is to slow the virus from spreading throughout your body.
Paxlovid is an antiviral medication. It interrupts the capacity of the virus to multiply. So after we're infected, if we can get in there quickly, we can prevent the virus from multiplying more, going throughout our body and making us seriously ill.
As for effectiveness, in a clinical trial, the drug reduced the risk of COVID hospitalization or death by 88%. Finally, who is Paxlovid for? The CDC and FDA say it's for mild to moderate cases of COVID in adults and kids over 12, who are, quote, at a high risk for progression to severe COVID-19, including hospitalization or death. Some examples Dr. Schaffner gave are people over 50, people with lung disease, heart disease, diabetes, or immunocompromised people. Now, Dr. Schaffner tells us that Paxlovid may become more widely used in the U.S. in the coming weeks as the U.S. government works to expand access. And listen to this. As of right now, it's totally free on the government's dime. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Welcome back. He got famous from Cheers and continued to play the uptight radio psychologist Dr. Frasier Crane on his very own show. Earlier, we chatted with Kelsey Grammer to get all the details about the Frasier reboot. Check it out. Hi, Mr. Grammer.
Oh, wow, there you all are. Wonderful.
I was going to say a little jealous of your background there, brother.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm in the Caribbean on an island called Nevis, and we're shooting a movie here.
Oh my God, my family's from Nevis.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no kidding, really? Wow. Well, it's lovely.
Well, we're not all
Nevis
from Bahamania, all right? Let's
I'm from Cleveland.
I'm from
Bahamania.
DC. You are best known for playing my absolute favorite TV character of all time, Dr. Frasier Crane, in Cheers and, of course, Frasier. And I just wanted to know, were you nervous when you spun off to do the lead in your own series? Because it was a huge hit, but you didn't know that.
We haven't collaborated on anything together since we wrote the spring musicale in prep school. Yes, well, it was well received. It did get us out of gym class. But...
There's always an element of you know, I guess anxiety about, you know, putting something in front of an audience. It's, you know, it's not art until you put it in front of somebody. So that moment was disconcerting on some level, but I knew that we had a good script. I knew we had a great cast. When the live audience stood up and cheered at the end of that show, David Hyde Pierce turned to me and said, "Kels, what does this mean?" And I said, "It means you're going to be able to buy a house." And then he said to me, he said, "What does it mean for you?" It says, "Means I'll probably buy 2 houses."
Yeah. That's right. That's amazing.
It's all right, James. Did you win? Okay.
Yay, James! He can come on.
And hey,
What
James.
James, know what James is doing.
Let's say hi to James. Hi, James.
The big star of the show.
Oh,
there you go.
Cutie.
Oh, what's up, cutie?
Hi, cutie.
James is the baby.
Oh,
Aw.
He said, "Yeah, that's you. That's all those people are interested." So, okay, you can play. All right.
Well, I'm sure everyone's happy to know there's a reboot in the works. So what was it
Yes.
like for you to return to the character? And can you give us any details about when it's going to be released? Because we're all waiting on pins and needles.
I thought, you know what? There's still another story to tell for him because Frasier's an interesting guy.
So when is it coming out, though? Can you give us a date or a ballpark?
Well, I think we're aiming to shoot sometime in the beginning of the third quarter.
Excellent.
And then, however they'll plan release of the show is based on. You know,
We need an exact day, son.
Yeah, we won't move
You
on.
see how much drilling down.
On Paramount Plus, so, you know, I'm not going to be involved in when they release it.
Right.
But
Tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs, yeah.
We have to talk about Kelsey Grammer's historic battles for America.
Yes.
Can we remember the men who shaped the nation we became?
Now, let's be 100. Every dad, I don't know what it is. We have kids. You get into history. That's just a thing that you get into war history. How did this happen to us, and when did it happen to you?
You know what? It was my granddad. Mm-hmm. My granddad was a World War II veteran, a colonel who served on Guadalcanal, and I had such reverence for him.
Why do you think that history is our most boring class in middle school and high school, where I feel like it's the most fascinating thing, the decisions that had to be made, how these little, just the weather affected, you know, the way the troops that were able to move, and that, you know, allowed them to, you know, refuel, and all these little things that happened that changed the course of history, and yet history class is a snooze fest. How is that?
Somewhere along the way, the people instructing us in history have allowed themselves to snooze.
As long as he's narrating, I'm going to be watching. All right, there you go, a Supreme Court nerd, so I like certain cases, and I wondered for you, if you had to pick a certain battle, which for you was the most important for America and why? I know this might be difficult, but if there was one that stood out to you.
There's Antietam is pretty decisive in terms of the fact that it's still the greatest loss of human life in American battle, and that was 22,000 plus in one day. And I've walked the battlefield at Gettysburg and sensed that there's that one trench where it was just hand to hand for hours, and it's just a nightmare to think about the blood that ran for weeks out of that place. And that was our blood. That was our human blood.
Yeah. It's tough. I cannot tell you what it is like speaking with you. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Kelsey.
We need to do this again.
It's been on my vision board since I've been 10, and you can watch Kelsey Grammer's historic battles for America. It's streaming on Fox Nation. It should be fascinating and not a snooze fest. We'll be right back.
Enjoy
Thank you.
sir.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
In 1981, John Hinckley Jr. attempted to assassinate President Ronald Reagan, shooting him and 3 other people. A jury found Hinckley not guilty of attempted murder by reason of insanity. He was then held in a psychiatric facility until 2016. Now, some viral social media posts and headlines say he's going to perform a concert in New York this summer and that it's already sold out. So is that true? Let's verify. Is Ronald Reagan's shooter performing a sold-out concert in New York this year? To find out, we went to these sources. The most recent court order in Hinckley's case, social media posts from a New York venue and a New York promoting company, and the ticket-selling websites Venue Pilot and TicketWeb. Hinckley was released from St. Elizabeth's Hospital in D.C. in 2016. The release order came with a list of strict conditions that have been gradually lifted over the last several years. For example, in 2020, Hinckley was given permission to release music and art under his own name, something he had wanted to do for years. And then, last September, a judge issued an order to lift all remaining restrictions on Hinckley, saying his mental state was stable and he no longer posed a threat. That unconditional release order goes into effect on June 15, 2022. A few weeks ago, New York promotions company Scenic Presents announced on Twitter that on July 8th, Hinckley will be performing his music at the Market Hotel venue in Brooklyn. The post includes a link to a ticket website frequently used by that venue. Clicking on the link informs you the show has already sold out. The venue has also posted about Hinckley's concert on Twitter, often in response to critics questioning its decision to host him. One post reads, "It was a booking decision because it's an intriguing event that forces the very discussion about justice and mental health we're having. Hinckley playing acoustic guitar on a stage does actual harm to no one." A search of another ticket site used by the promotions company also shows the concert with the same details and also lists it as sold out. So we can verify, yes, John Hinckley Jr., Ronald Reagan's shooter, is performing a sold-out concert in New York this year. The venue and the promotions company didn't respond to our requests for comment. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
A new report from the American Lung Association says despite decades of progress in making our air cleaner, more than 137 million people live in places with failing grades for unhealthy levels of pollution. That's 2 million more people breathing unhealthy air compared to last year. When it comes to living with poor air quality, not everyone is treated equally. Researchers found people of color are 3 times more likely than white people to live in a county with high air pollution. But there's actually some encouraging news here in Hampton Roads. When it comes to high ozone pollution, which can inflame your airways and cause coughing and sore throats, Norfolk and Virginia Beach were rated as some of the cleanest cities. Our area also got top marks for short-term particle pollution, which can cause a whole host of health problems from decreased lung function to heart attacks. While our area came away with a relatively clean bill of health, it's still clear there's a lot of work left to be done to make sure everyone can enjoy the same fresh air.
Are you guilty for not having a gift for Mother's Day yet? Don't worry, we got you covered with so many great deals for the mom in your life and more. Check it out. Steph, what do you have for us today?
Hi, Tori, and hey, DBL Nation. I have got some wonderful products and even better deals just for you. First up, we've got Born 3-piece night set with robe, tank top, and shorts. So this deal includes 1 pair of shorts, 1 tank, and 1 robe, which feels so soft. Normally, it's $98, but right now, Tori, it's only $29.
Woo!
Saving everyone 70%.
Loungewear's in.
This next item is truly necessary. We have got Part 2 True HEPA Air Purifier. You can breathe freely and remove 99.97% 1% of contaminants from the air.
Wow.
Normally, it's $70.
Okay.
Right now, it's only $25, which saves everyone 64%.
This is so small that anyone with an apartment and dogs or cats, brilliant idea.
Now, this one I am so excited about because we have got the Prime and Pure CZ Mom or Mama pendant necklace in 0.925 sterling silver.
Nice.
So this deal includes one beautiful necklace. Look at this.
That's so cute.
So normally this necklace is $75.
Okay.
But we've got it. Are you ready for only $29, saving you 61%? And then last, but definitely not least, we've got Heidi and Oak quilted duffel bag.
Cute.
So this deal includes one duffel bag available in 2 colors. We've got black or red. Normally, this is $149. We've got it for $39, which saves everybody at home 74%.
Guys, I would go on a weekend vacation just to take the duffel bag. Head on over to morningsave.com to snag all these amazing deals at the lowest prices. You can even just scan the QR code on screen right now because we are so tech savvy, or visit morningsave.com on your smartphone. Again, thank you, Steph. So Mother's Day is coming up like faster than you think. I'm doing, Mom, don't listen, flowers.
Keep it traditional.
Yeah, I want to do, she likes blue and white, so I'm going to do a big bouquet. What are you going to do? You're going to outshine me.
Well, first of all, I want to be celebrating.
Yes.
And last year, Colin got me this stuff, and my mom was like, "You're not a mom yet. The baby's in your stomach." I'm like, "Excuse me, I'm a mom." So me and her were debating, but I'm actually taking my mom and some of my family out, and then I guess, me and Colin will talk about the bill. Maybe he'll take everybody. But we're going to brunch all together. I'll be in New York.
So it's your first time as a mother, really mother.
Celebrating Mother's Day with my mother and my sister, who has a new 2-month-old baby. So it's going to be really exciting.
Miss Erica, what are you doing?
I have no idea. See, I'm either 3 months ahead or I'm 24 hours to 24 hours. And right now I'm in my 24-hour to 24-hour mode. The plus side of that is that my mother benefits more from that because then I panic and I just get the most expensive gift I can possibly get.
I was about to say, because I know that Erica is probably one of the most organized people that I know. You're you in advance, you're like, okay, this is coming up on June 25th, and this is coming up. And so you kind of know, even if it's not like planning it to the T. I'm more like OCD than you, but you're more like, okay, let's look at the big year picture. Okay?
She's got an actual
So I figured your mom's gift would already be on the way.
No, it's just because of the season in life that I'm in. So yeah, she might get a nice piece of jewelry this year. So that happened once. I just ran out to the jewelry store and I was like, give me
I would love it if that happened. Do you spend more on Mother's Day or do you spend more on birthdays, or is Mother's Day a big thing in your family?
You know what? I kind of went bankrupt this Christmas, so I'm going to say Christmas at all of them. The rest of them don't bother me. Christmas really bothered me this year. Too many kids in my family.
That makes sense. Well, Mazel Tov on your first Mother's Day coming up.
Thank you.
That's so exciting. DBL's New Every Day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, y'all.